Hello everyone and welcome back to Reese's Writing YouTube channel. Today this is the first weekly update, what I've been doing, what I've been watching, what I've been reading, all that sort of stuff. If you hear any weird woos in the background or anything, it's currently a storm, Storm Dara, which was a red warning where I am, but has sort of quieted down. It was like 90-mile-an-hour wind speed or something ridiculous overnight. So yeah, that kept me up. So if I'm a bit crazy in my talking, that's probably because of it. Not because that's just who I am. And even if I get a good night's sleep, I'm still freaking talking out of my ass. What have I been reading? Well, I'm nearly finished with The Outsider by Colin Wilson. I'm really enjoying this book. I've sort of thought about it quite a bit, even when I'm not reading it. It's a really well done non-fiction look, or like a study into certain literature, characters, or philosophical ideas from characters and authors, or real life people that are all sort of classified as the outsider, or have a similar, or have like a certain aspect or thing that goes with the idea of an outsider, and he sort of collates these whole different characters to come up with a sort of description of what an outsider is, and he studies it. He goes into depth about the outsider. It, in wrong hands, I mean, you could say that there's a lot of things that are quite bad to sort of study with the outsider. There's lots of bad morals and bad sort of like things are antisocial and sort of incel thoughts, or not being socially accepted, and that whole thing is quite a damning look at the world. And he gives a like pros and cons, or like he sort of weighs up why it's bad and why it's good, because these are some amazing artists. You got Van Gogh, D.H. Lawrence, Dostoevsky with the brothers Karamazov, and most of them sort of either give up, go insane, or commit. I can't say that on YouTube, can I? Just stop talking and start just going into themselves like a beetle, as Dostoevsky would say. And it's an interesting piece. I probably would go into sort of more depth because there's a lot to unpack from the outsider, and as I said, it's quite a dangerous topic. Some of the morals and views that these people have and what they write about is quite a tough topic. What he explores is very interesting, especially to me. Is quite a philosophical look on these moral views and what their life's journey is. At the beginning, I thought it was going to be more sort of maybe an interview-esque. I didn't really know anything about Colin Wilson, but he is very theoretical, very literature-based, and looks at sort of writers and painters and dancers and things sort of from the past, rather than going out and looking at them. But yeah, I digress. I'm really enjoying it. I have been reading it quite a lot. It's kind of I'm going on to the next book, but it's kind of hindered me listening. I normally listen to an audiobook and read paper at the same time, and it has hindered my audiobook, which is Dogs of War by Adrian Tchaikovsky, which is my other one. And I think it has sort of hindered my sort of enjoyment of it. But I think that the story of Dogs of War, it's growing on me. At the beginning, I was a bit hesitant to carry on because I wasn't really getting into it at the beginning. I felt it was a bit off. Like, I didn't really care too much about the sort of war and like sort of standoffs and like the company that like have made them. I wasn't all a big fan of that sort of thing to look into, and the characters didn't grab me all too much at the beginning. But now it's sort of developing. I don't think I have that much left to listen to be honest. But I'm getting into it more now, and the whole ideas of what happens. I'm not really going to go into it, but yeah, I did sort of start this. I started this like maybe a while ago and just couldn't bring myself to carry on it. But after hearing Talking Story, John from Talking Story, if you haven't subscribed, go subscribe to him. He's great. Talk about it. I sort of went back and gave it another try, and I'm enjoying it much more now. And the whole ideas of war and what war does to you is sort of put into these animals, and I think it gives an interesting look, an interesting sort of analysis of that problem of almost like the barrier between human beings and dehumanizing things that aren't really, they're not unhuman. There are unhuman aspects, but like they can talk, they can think, they can do all the things that are human. So why not sort of treat them as human? I think that's a sort of interesting philosophical problem that I am interested in, and I think this sort of tackles it in an interesting way. So I'm interested to see where this goes, and those are the two books that I'm reading at the moment. What am I writing? I'm currently sort of editing Security Guard. I'm kind of near the end now of editing it, and then I'll sort of really hammer home the voiceover, and then I also really want to get the template done. I don't think the template will take too much. I have a good idea of what it should be, just quite simple, easy, something I can use multiple scenes but keep it interesting. And then I'll do sound effects and music and what have you, which I have an idea for music to make it a bit more interesting than my pan drums and random pianos that I had in Mind Games. But yeah, I want to make it more sort of templatey, that I can carry on to other stories that I want to do next. And I have The Outsider also has made me really want to start writing new things and journal sort of my day-to-day thoughts and feelings of things. It's really made me want to do it. I haven't started that yet, but I really should sort of start doing that. I have a good idea in my head. I need to put pen to paper really and start it. It's a really cool idea, and I just want to do it now, but I need to put the time away. I kind of have been prioritizing getting Security Guard and Mind Games finished, but I think maybe it's time to sort of move on to this new story that I want to do, potentially as like a novel, depending, or potentially see how it goes, but potentially maybe put it on the channel. I don't know, see what happens. I have a little book haul. I don't know if I'll do that now. Oh, what I was gonna go on to next, I think the only thing that I really need to go on to is Inhibitor Phase by Alistair Reynolds. So that's what I'll be going on to next after The Outsider, which I'm looking forward to getting back into Revelation space. It's, I think, smaller than the others, but it is longer, like in terms of length. It's not as girthy as the others, but it doesn't hold back on the length. Okay, so the mini book haul, because I think I will get quite a lot of books when I go back home. There's a lot of good bookshops around my mum's, and also Christmas. So I'll be getting a few books from Christmas. So I'm doing a little book haul. I went to 2 bookshops around me last weekend and I got Sign of the Unicorn by Roger Zelazny. This is another. I've done it again. I've done another Moorcock. I've bought. I think this might be the second book, so not as bad as Moorcock, but maybe the second or not the beginning of the series. And I don't know, it might be because of the publication, like the Sphere collection, that the others aren't in the Sphere collection. I may be wrong about that, but I think Amber and Gold or something like that sort of name is the first one. Yeah, bit of an oopsie on that, so I may go into that at some point. And then I got Tricksters by Margaret May. This sounds quite interesting. I think this would be a good palate cleanser, sort of tensiony family thriller type thing. It's pretty much about a family get together, and then sort of 3 mysterious brothers come out of nowhere and start causing a little bit of mayhem. Yeah, I'm very interested to see what this is about. I haven't really heard anything about it. I've looked at the Goodreads reviews, and they're really positive. So I'm very looking forward to getting into that. And then I've got a Ray Bradbury. I found a Ray Bradbury, everyone. Wee woo, Ray Bradbury. The Silver Locust by Ray Bradbury. This is another sort of Mars story that he's wrote. It's about the colonization of Mars. He loves discussing that, and this is another book based on that. So yeah, I always love me some Ray Bradbury, so that's one that I'm interested in. And then I've heard quite a lot of good things about Earth Abides by George R. Stewart. I think I've heard a lot about it from Outlaw Bookseller. He quite likes this book, so yes. This is another post-apocalyptic book. If you haven't watched my other my sort of shorts reviews, I've done a lot of post-apocalyptic books, and this is another one. So this is about sort of a mysterious plague that's destroyed the human race, and this guy has come back to San Francisco, and it's about him sort of developing a small community with like maybe the only woman left on Earth. So I think it's about a whole new civilization, really. So that is Earth Abides by George R. Stewart. And then I'm carrying on my Ursula K. Le Guin look. This is The Wind's 12 Quarters. I think this is sort of a multiple short story collection. So the stories are Semley's Necklace, April in Paris, The Masters and Darkness Box, The Word of Unbinding and the Rule of Names, Winter's King, The Good Trip, 9 Lives, Things that End, A Trip to the Head, Vaster Than Empires and More Slow, The Stars Below, The Field of Vision, Direction of the Road, The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelaz, The Day Before the Revolution, and it has an excerpt of A. Houseman's A Shropshire Lad. Big up Shropshire. Always love me some Ursula K. Le Guin. And that is the books, really. So what I've I've been watching? I've watched Bodies, which is a Netflix TV show. I'm going to be disappointed because I think there's only one series. It's sort of a science fiction detective murder mystery about a body that showed up in multiple different timelines, and it's just about uncovering the mystery of how the hell this body has got to all these different timelines. And it's good watching. It's nothing like mind-bending crazy. It has some good plot ideas, and they're quite well done. Um, there's certain timelines. I think there's always a problem with flicking between different timelines or different stories. Some are going to be less good as others. There's one that's in World War II, which I kind of despise the main character on that one. And I guess that was a point. I think he may be sort of developing into more of a, a better person. But yeah, always a problem with multiple timelines, multiple stories, is that some will just be as good as others. Some will be more interesting. And yeah, I think there's a few sort of forced stories, forced plot lines and things in there, which I don't know if are all needed for the story. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm interested to see where it goes, and hopefully there's no cliffhanger, because Netflix probably haven't renewed it for a second series, and if they did, then that's great. And that is literally all I've been watching. I haven't been watching much recently. I'm going to watch Gladiator 2 tomorrow. Yeah, I really haven't been watching much. What I've been watching on YouTube though, I've been watching the usual suspects of Outlaw Bookseller. He's done one about the list of shame, which authors you haven't read yet, and I put mine in. I'm not that shameful about what authors I haven't read. I just, these are the authors I haven't got to yet. So I'll be interested to see what he says about certain authors. And yeah, I always love his sort of looks, and he's got such a deep knowledge of science fiction. He's been in the game, as you would say, for a long time, so it's always so super good to get sort of well versed understanding. He's put me he's got a lot of authors: Colin Wilson, as I said, George R. Stewart, Keith Roberts, Eric Brown. A lot of books have sort of come from his recommendations on his videos, so I really use him as a source of information. So yeah, I've been watching Talking Stories videos. They're always so good to just hear him talking about how amazing books are, how he wax lyrical about certain books, and his sort of positivity and the way he talks is really engaging. And yeah, I just love him chatting about books, so it's always good. And Jacob is the best producer on YouTube, so on YouTube ever. I'm going with it. Yeah, he had a sort of Bookhaul, and he's in Dragonsteel, so yeah, very sort of jealous of him going on that adventure. Me being, I'm in Britain, there's just wind and rain and no Dragonsteel con. So yeah, always good to see what's going on in America. Yeah, I've been watching Already Overbooked. He's a great guy. He sort of pops up in comments if you're watching this. Thanks for watching. And yeah, I've been watching his sort of TBR, and he has some good sort of indie reads that I wouldn't know about. Like there's quite some interesting ones that I haven't really heard of. His TBR is quite interesting, so always good to see that. And then I was watching Chance Dillon's sort of weekly update. He's a great YouTuber. Go check him out. He's doing he's writing. He's writing a big sort of fantasy series, so quite cool to see his development of like what he's doing next, sort of the covers and his journey, because he's, you know, got quite the sort of, it's slowly morphing into an actual big sort of book, big series, so always interesting to see that. And then I watched SF Words of Wonder. He ranked Barry Milesberg's picks for top 10 literary SF short stories. I would like to sort of read more short stories. I think there's a lot that's sort of hidden away in short stories, especially science fiction. There's a lot of short stories. That's where people become the author they are, and there's a lot of good stuff hidden. So it's good to hear a list of short stories, especially literary, because I'm kind of, I tend to go to more literary. They sort of, for me, I think they're more philosophical, more based on the mind or something like that. So hard science fiction, come and go, like Alistair Reynolds is hard science fiction and I really enjoy his. So, but I can struggle to get into hard science fiction. So it's cool to have sort of a literary look on things. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've been reading. I could go on for ages about what I've been watching. So yeah, if you haven't seen, I do 1 minute reviews in December every day. So the ones that I did last week are as follows. Okay, stick with me now. I started off with World War Z. I started off with World War Z by Max Brooks. That's a great book. The Wall by John Lanchester. I said Lancaster in the video. What was I thinking? I'm Legend by Richard Matheson, another amazing book. Nod by Adrian Barnes, an interesting book, not one that I've really heard people talk about. So yeah, I would say check it out if you like that sort of post-apocalyptic thing. And then Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr, amazing book, one of my favorites actually of all time. I should do that at some point. One of my favorite books of all time. Canticle for Leibowitz by Walter M. Miller, and then The Wasp Factory by Ian Banks, not Ian M. Banks. Leaves out the M for like more of his literary, like modern books. I don't know why people do that. I guess it's to sort of not have them cross over. There's probably more to it that I'm not aware of. What's coming up this week? We've got series that I want to get to in 2025. I won't do like a lot of them, but there's 2 in specific, maybe another one that I want to get to. And then we have the Dracula video, which I've been editing away at. So hopefully it'll turn out all right, and we'll see where that goes. That's, I think, quite the journey. The Journey of Dracula, which is the title. And yeah, that's all I've been doing this week. What have you been doing this week? What have you been reading, watching, all that stuff? Leave it in the comment section down below. Like, subscribe, whatever. Do all that stuff. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.